Ever wondered if the secret to, better human relationships, maybe even a more balanced life, could be found somewhere really unexpected, like understanding dog behavior? Well, today we're taking a really fascinating deep dive to explore exactly that. We've been really digging into excerpts from Be the Pack Leader by Cesar Millan with Melissa Jo Peltier. And our mission really for you today is to sort of uncover how the insights from this book, which, okay, were originally for dog owners, can actually be an incredible shortcut, a shortcut to improving your leadership, whether that's, with your family, your colleagues, or maybe most importantly with yourself.
Yeah, it's a great starting point. And what's truly fascinating as we look through the sources is how explicitly the book itself frames this connection. It really argues that by embracing this leadership role based on instinct,
Mm-hmm.
on balanced energy, you can foster much more harmonious relationships, not just with your dogs, obviously, but quite profoundly with other humans too. It positions the dog almost as this living, breathing mirror for our own internal states.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty unique way to think about self-improvement, right?
Yeah.
And navigating our human interactions better.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. The foundational idea, the book starts pretty simple, laying out the premise that dogs are, well, they're pack animals. Instinctively, they crave structure, they need clear leadership. It's just,
Yeah.
it's in their nature, right? They
Right.
thrive when they know who's guiding them. But how does Milan really break down why this is so fundamental, not just for the dogs, but for us, for understanding human dynamics too?
That's a great question because it's more than just an observation. It's really the bedrock of the whole thing. The book argues pretty strongly that when we humans fail to provide that natural instinctual leadership, our dogs will, well, they'll try to compensate. It's almost inevitable. And this often leads to those unstable behaviors we see, anxiety, sometimes aggression. The dog's just trying to fill a leadership vacuum. And, it's easy to think dogs think they're human, but the book clarifies that. Dogs are perfectly happy being dogs. They operate on a much more primal level. You're either stable or unstable, leader or follower. That's it. And their world, their behavior just reflects our leadership or, our lack of it.
Hmm. And that clarity, understanding their world, that leads straight to this core concept Millen talks about all the time, calm, assertive energy. He describes it not as anger, definitely not aggression, but as this calm, unwavering strength, like a powerful presence that just signals competence, direction. How does the book elaborate on that, this almost quiet form of leadership?
Well, it stresses that this calm, assertive energy is absolutely vital. Because when we humanize our dogs, expecting them to fill emotional roles, treating them like little furry people, we're often, without realizing it, causing their behavioral problems. But here's the key thing. It isn't just about the dogs. It reflects our own unbalanced lives. When we project our internal chaos, our stress, our uncertainty onto them, they just mirror it right back with their instabilities. So the really profound insight here is that by addressing our internal state first, by cultivating this calm, assertive energy inside ourselves, we're actually creating a kind of leadership shortcut. It instantly signals trustworthiness, direction. It cuts through confusion, resistance, in any interaction, really, human or animal.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, connecting the dogs so directly back to us. Milan introduces this term, Koyaanisqatsi. It means life out of balance. And he applies it straight to humans. He suggests we're losing touch with our instinctual side, what he basically equates with common sense, because we're like overly reliant on our intellect. So how does the book suggest this loss of instinct actually impacts us? And what are the implications for, our leadership and just our daily lives?
Yeah, it's a really critical observation he makes there. Milan outlines these four crucial areas for human balance: intellectual, emotional, spiritual, and instinctual. And he notes, pretty accurately, I think, that Western society, especially America, tends to excel in the intellectual realm. We communicate almost entirely through language, often living, as he puts it, 100% in our minds. He even shares a bit about his own journey, right? Learning to access his emotional side after moving from Mexico, where, especially for men, emotions were often kind of suppressed. The implication for us is pretty profound. If we're constantly just in our heads, we're less tuned in to nonverbal cues, maybe less present in our interactions. And we might struggle to inspire trust on that deeper intuitive level, the level that's essential for truly resonant leadership. We lose that gut feeling, that common sense connection that dogs just get.
Okay, so if it's about our own balance, what does this mean for leadership, specifically with other humans? The book argues that, yeah, people follow intellectual leaders or spiritual or emotional ones, but that deep, universal leadership, the kind animals just naturally respond to, comes from that instinctual side. It's almost like this silent, undeniable force. What does that tell us the kind of leader we should maybe aim to be in our own human interactions?
It really suggests that true deep leadership isn't just about your words or what you know intellectually. It's about who you are. It's the energy you project. Think about that tycoon anecdote in the book. It's such a powerful story. Here's this incredibly powerful, kind of intimidating businessman. Initially, he showed, like, zero visible emotion towards humans. His eyes, the book says, showed amazing intellect, but had this glaze when dealing with people, like he was always calculating his next deal. But that glaze just vanished when he was with his dogs, these two miniature schnauzers. And his dogs, Willie and Kid, they completely mirrored his own unbalanced life. They showed fight, flight, avoidance behaviors, classic instability, his inability to make eye contact, to be really present with people. It reflected his own internal struggles. It was only when his own issues were so vividly mirrored back by his dogs, only when he was willing to change his approach to them, that he started to really listen and respect and change himself. And that shift, it didn't just fix things with his dogs. It apparently revealed this whole other side to him, charitable, more compassionate in his human interactions. It led to deeper connections, a more balanced life overall. The dogs weren't just pets. They were like catalysts for his own growth and ultimately better leadership with people.
Wow. That's such a powerful illustration. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the book keeps reminding us, doesn't it, that your energy, just your state of being, that's your most powerful tool. It's not just about the physical stuff, the leashes or collars. It's the calm, assertive energy behind them.
Exactly. And this concept of energy is defined as the universal language of emotions. It's how all animals, humans included, read feelings and states of mind in others for survival. It's our intuition, basically, our sixth sense. But it's not magic. It's a sophisticated cognitive process, hardwired into our biology. We're constantly picking up information we might not even consciously register, and we ignore those subtle signals at our own peril, really. This applies directly to how we interact every day with colleagues, family, friends. Our nonverbal cues, our projected energy, they often speak way louder than our words. Think about walking into a room, you often just sense the vibe, right, before anyone even speaks. That's this energy in action.
Which brings us to another really powerful point the book makes. Dogs as our emotional mirrors. There's that vivid story with the co-writer, Melissa Jo Peltier. She'd arrive at the dog psychology center, all tense from LA traffic, and immediately the dogs would just swarm her, completely mirroring her anxious energy, like chaos magnets. But the second she consciously took deep breaths, centered herself, shifted her state of mind, boom. The dogs immediately calmed down, went back to their own business. It's just this instant, visible reflection of an internal change. You literally see your inner world played out in their behavior.
It's such a profound lesson in self-awareness, isn't it? Which naturally makes you act. How much negative or maybe just uncertain energy are you unconsciously projecting day to day? The book basically posits that if you're feeling negative about yourself or doubting your abilities, even subtly, you project that energy out. And conversely, by consciously cultivating a positive, calm, assertive state of mind, you perform at your highest potential, not just with animals, but in every single interaction, from like a tough work meeting to a sensitive family chat. Your internal state becomes your most powerful communication tool. It just manifests externally.
So taking these insights even further, what does this all mean for your relationships, your daily life with other humans? The book states it pretty directly. People who successfully apply calm, assertive energy with their dogs, they report that their human relationships also become more manageable, more harmonious with their kids, their bosses, spouses. It's a direct carryover. These self-mastery principles just ripple outwards.
It truly is a ripple effect. Think about Tina Madden, that story. Her aggressive chihuahua, Nunu, was just a tiny, furry mirror of Tina's own deep insecurities and anxiety. As Tina did the work on herself, became more confident, embraced her inner pack leader, Nunu's behavior transformed, sure, but the really fascinating part, Tina's ability to connect with other people completely shifted. That newfound calm, that assertion she learned with her dog, it empowered her to navigate her human world with way more confidence and effectiveness. Or that incredibly powerful story of AJ. She suffered from panic disorder after multiple miscarriages. Just awful. Her service dog, Sparky, reflected her anxiety, especially around other dogs, like pit bulls. By facing her own fear at Cesar Center, by learning to project that calm, assertive energy, AJ didn't just empower Sparky to overcome his anxiety, she started to overcome her own panic disorder. And that feeling of self-efficacy just spilled over. She started volunteering. These aren't just dog training stories, they're profound human transformations. And they were facilitated by insights from animal behavior, but crucially, by mastering oneself.
That's incredible. The ripple effect is just undeniable. And the book doesn't just talk about why this matters, right? It offers really practical methods for cultivating this energy within yourself. Things like setting a clear positive intention before you do something, using method acting techniques like embodying a powerful character you admire, practicing visualization, engaging in inner dialogue like mentally claiming your space. This is my sofa, as the book says. Listening to motivational recordings, repeating affirmations, using music to shift your mood. And then the more embodied practices, yoga, tai chi, martial arts, meditation, prayer. It's like a whole toolkit for self-improvement, isn't it? Like that method acting thing, if you're heading into a tough negotiation, you could mentally step into the shoes of someone known for composure, maybe Cleopatra or Oprah, like the book suggests, and just observe how that internal shift changes your presence, your projected energy.
Precisely. And if we connect this back to the bigger picture of human leadership, the book actually draws on research into primal leadership, which highlights that essentially great leadership works through emotions. Our limbic system, our emotional brain, it's described as an open loop system, meaning our emotional stability relies quite heavily on our connections with others. It mirrors the social dynamics of dog packs, where one member's state affects the whole group. And this research differentiates between dissonant leadership, which is inconsistent, confusing, creates anxiety, and resonant leadership. Resonant leadership amplifies that upbeat, enthusiastic, and crucially, that calm, assertive energy. True resonant leadership, the book asserts, comes from mastering self-awareness and self-management, being attuned to your inner signals, managing your emotions effectively. This doesn't just make you a better leader for, say, your team or family. It creates an environment of clarity, calm, and confidence that actually benefits everyone around you.
So in this deep dive, we've really explored how Be the Pack Leader reveals something fundamental. Those principles of mastering calm, assertive energy to lead your dog. At their heart, they're about self-mastery. It's about understanding that your internal state profoundly impacts your external world, your interactions, your results. And this journey, it can truly transform your relationships, your sense of empowerment in, well, all areas of your life. It's about becoming that balanced, confident leader you already have within you, not just for your pet, but for your entire human pack, so to speak.
Right. Which kind of leaves us and you with this final thought to maybe chew on. If ancient humans and dogs evolved side by side, literally learning from each other for millennia, and if dogs in the wild, even today, instinctively follow the leader with the most common sense, the most calm, assertive energy, regardless of breed or size, then what can you learn about true, unbiased leadership just by observing nature's wisdom and maybe focusing a bit more on the authentic energy you project out into the world? Thanks for joining us. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shaking things up.